Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a genuinely complex and massive shift in U.S. immigration policy. We're looking at brand new executive actions coming out of the White House that target birthright citizenship. So whether you're a constitutional law buff or you just happen to catch the recent headlines, we're going to break down exactly what these orders do, who they actually impact, and why this century-old legal battle matters so much to the fundamental makeup of the country.
Okay, let's dive right into this by looking at the core motivation. The catalyst for this breaking news comes directly from President Trump, who stated, "They've taken birthright citizenship and they've made a joke out of it. We're cracking down very big." The administration is signaling a major shift here. They're utilizing executive power to forcefully restrict access to automatic citizenship, basically arguing that the current system is being taken advantage of and perverting the original intent of the Constitution.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. The executive orders. 2. Defining birth tourism. 3. The 4 target categories. 4. The Supreme Court context. And 5. The looming legal battles.
Section 1. The executive orders.
Basically, the president just signed 2 new executive orders. These direct the Secretaries of State and Homeland Security to draft highly detailed procedures to deny visas to specific groups, and notably, this includes pregnant women. The overarching goal here is to forcefully restrict immigration and limit exactly who is eligible for automatic U.S. citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
Section 2. Defining birth tourism.
The administration is aiming squarely at a practice they call birth tourism. Essentially, this is when individuals enter the United States on temporary visas, kind of under the guise of traveling or tourism, but their sole intention is actually to give birth on American soil. And why do that? To automatically secure U.S. citizenship for the child. From the administration's perspective, officials, including the president, have described this specific practice as committing a fraud against the American government and making an absolute mockery of the 14th Amendment.
Now, what's really interesting here is the number 32. When announcing these crackdowns, the president claimed that the United States is essentially the only country of size, or really just about the only country, period, that offers birthright citizenship. But if we do a quick fact check, it turns out 32 other countries around the world actually have birthright citizenship policies in place. It's a really crucial piece of global context when you're evaluating the administration's stance that the U.S. is entirely unique in this regard.
Section 3. The 4 target categories.
So exactly who do these orders apply to for future births? Well, it boils down to 4 distinct groups. First up, children born to foreign diplomatic staff working on behalf of another government in the U.S. Second, children of people classified as alien enemies, which includes federally declared terrorist groups. Third, and this is a big one, children born in U.S. territories. And fourth, children born to mothers who expressly and deceptively enter the U.S. for the sole purpose of having a child. Now, jumping back to that third point about U.S. territories for a second, the order notes a pretty massive caveat. Changing automatic citizenship in places like Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, and the Marshall Islands, that would actually require a future act of Congress to change the law.
Section 4. The Supreme Court context.
The historical timeline here is absolutely vital. You see, this is actually the administration's second attempt to pass these kinds of restrictions. Back in June, the Supreme Court effectively knocked down the president's bid to deny citizenship to children whose parents are on temporary visas or are in the country illegally. The president called that a very unfair decision, but noted that to please his base and push forward his broader efforts to restrict immigration, they were going to try to end it, quote, a different way. And, well, today's executive orders, they are that different way.
But they face a massive historical hurdle, which brings us to the number 160. During that June ruling, 5 of the 6 Supreme Court justices who ruled against the president cited a staggering 160 years of established case law. To put that in perspective, this precedent has been on the books since before the invention of the telephone. It firmly backs the fact that birthright citizenship is legal and appropriate under the Constitution in the United States.
This brings us to a stark, central clash. To restrict citizenship, the administration is using executive orders directed at federal agencies. But the Supreme Court's requirement? It's vastly different. The 6th justice in that June ruling explicitly stated that the president's efforts violated federal statute. The message from the court was crystal clear. If you want to change the 14th Amendment, you need an act of Congress to pass a new law, or a brand new constitutional amendment to overturn it. You just can't bypass it with an executive order.
Section 5. The looming legal battles.
So, as you might expect, these orders are absolutely not going to go unchallenged. Several advocacy groups are already heavily scrutinizing the text to launch immediate legal challenges. Take the American Civil Liberties Union, for example. In their response tonight, they powerfully stated, "The 14th Amendment is not a policy preference, it is constitutional law."
Which leaves us with one massive lingering question as we wrap up this explainer. Will these newly crafted narrow executive orders actually survive the impending legal challenges and court tests? Or will the 160 years of solid established precedent behind the 14th Amendment stand firm against this executive action? It is an incredible constitutional clash between the executive branch and established law, and it's for sure one we'll all be watching very closely. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.